Oh, yeah. Hello, hello. Hello, CRT aficionado. Yes, it is I, Steve, here live with you. Since the Neo Geo has announced a new console, you could see my weird Neo Geo console stuff. I'll show you that here in a second. And hey, if we can fix this PVM, then I will actually have an opportunity to test this equipment for you. So we hopefully can fix it. I think I know what's wrong with it. And instead of just fixing it in 5 minutes by myself, I wanted to come on with all you lovely people here and spend our Monday morning together. Excuse me. I'm a bit dry-mouthed. There's a lot of wind. The seasons are in between something here. I don't know. 2 days ago it was really hot. Today it's back to cool and chilly again. So my allergies, like many of you, may be bothering you. So I appreciate you spending your time here today with me at Retro Tech. This is going to be some kind of an older school stream that, you know, a lot of you may have seen before, where I went through and would do some live CRT work. Well, that's what we're going to do today. We've got two things on the agenda. First, we're going to look at a Samsung. This is a flat screen, 16-inch, not digital, but it does have component video input, Samsung CRT TV. There's not a lot of information out there on it, not at least this specific one. So we're going to look at that. Hopefully it works fine. I really have never tested it. I got it last year and kind of stashed it in my attic here at the shop and forgot about it. So I pulled it out. I need to look at it, get it ready to get out of here because somebody wants it. And then after that, we're going to do the Sony PVM repair. So we're going to give everything a little bit of time here to marinate. I feel like things move so quickly in today's world, right? The attention span. We got to think, how do we keep everybody's attention? Well, I'm not really worried about that. I want to go slow here. I feel like the only chance I get to go slow with anything is like when I'm cruising around town in my 1997 Mercury Grand Marquis listening to the oldies station or some Phil Collins cassette tape that I have. So anyway, we're going to do that. We're going to chill out and get on in here. I did even start the stream a little bit early, so thanks again for showing up. If you'd be so inclined, do help me out and hit the like button, and that will help me out. I want to thank everybody: Robcat, Edward, C Miles, XX Brian, and Dajord. Thank you all for being here. What's up, guys? What's up, Matt? What's up, Pavel? We're gonna first look at the Neo Geo toys, because everybody knows, right? The new Neo Geo is coming out. What's my opinion on it? Someone asked that, but I mean, my opinion is I've been chasing Neo Geo since I was a kid, so I understand anybody who wants to dive into it. And hey, more options is better, but I'm going to be honest with you on another front. I'm not an early adopter of tech. I usually let it come out, hit the market, and run its course, and then pick it up in the next round of runs or whatever and see if it actually is something that sticks around. So personally, I'm going to be that. I'm waiting. I'm not sure I'll buy anything new. I'll show you what I've got. And I'll tell you kind of what the apex was for me. It was this machine you see right here. Right here. I've done a couple videos on it in the past. It's my Neo Geo MVS 4 slot. I got it in like 2018 or 17. off Facebook Marketplace for $300. And it did work at the time. Since then, I've gone ahead and replaced it with a Mr. Cade setup. And I also have swapped in a different tube in it and worked on the chassis. So I've done quite a bit. I've added wheels to it, lots of stuff. But I really think that, for me, is the ultimate. So I don't have any reason to go further than that for me personally. So I'll show you this stuff over here, though, real quick. And kind of get the show rolling here. So I've got some carts that went with my machine. I originally got these 4 to put in the machine. One's the multi-cart, which does, this is the old school multi-game, 161 games in one. So it was a great value back in the day. They still probably make them. And I don't know. I've recapped it. It's in fine shape. It's not one of the ones that like damages systems or anything. It's like an earlier run than that. I've had it for such a long time. And then the rest of these are original MVS carts. And of course, Neo Turf Masters had to get that. Probably the greatest golf game for an arcade. I don't know. I mean, I guess you could argue probably those whatever they're called, Golden Tee games, but I always loved Neo Turf Masters for like an arcade golf game. You can't read that, probably. That's League Bowling. So this is a fun bowling game, and I really enjoy it. And it's not on the 161, so it's one of the games I bought. And finally, Fatal Fury 3. It's the classic game there. And then here's the other thing. I did get this monstrosity made for me at some point. Look at this guy. All but half the like sticker letters have just fallen off. It's so old. The S, the GO. This is like just random case that it could fit in. And that is a consoleized Neo Geo console from an arcade MVS board. It's got a power switch, 2 controller ports, and then I know it does RGB, audio, and power. So if we actually get this PVM working, this is what we'll hook up to it, and we'll see if this still works. I haven't used this in years. Ooh. Now, this was one of the things that I always had an issue with compared to my Neo Geo machine was the controller. Like, this isn't the actual regular Neo Geo controller. It's a remade one from the X, which is a different console that came out like in the, I don't know, 10 years ago, maybe a little longer. Anyway, it's got some like burn here from something where the plastic got burned. But if you're playing this, it's okay, you know, but it's definitely not as good as the buttons for that controller compared to this. Plus, this, I mean, even regular Neo Geo stuff always had that cheaper plastic feel to it. So that's the controller I have. I also have like a modified controller from I think it's a Saturn, I guess. Yeah, it's a Saturn controller that's been modified to work with the console. So that's what we'll test that with. Now, hopefully this first TV works and our test will work out for that. We're going to use a Super Famicom for that one. So what I'm going to do now is get that ready, power it up. We'll talk first a second about this TV. Set that out of the way. Oh yeah. Here we go. I don't want to just shout. I want to make sure that everything's good. We're gonna look at, let's see, we've got, there's the TV, the Dynaflat. Okay. And for, ooh, let me push that, there we go. Before we get going, testing it out, let's look at some information on the TV. And guys, if you want any copies or you want to look further at any resources I'm going to refer to today, they are going to be in the show notes or the description of this video. You can get links to everything I'm talking about. And so this was something I found from a site called Media College. It's on the Samsung TXN 1634F. This is a 16-inch Dynaflat anti-glare dark tint CRT screen. It's actually 15 inches in size. It's component video input, and it does have RF and composite video. Unfortunately, it does not support S-video. And let's look at just some interesting features. Now, it says screen size is 16 inches, and if you're wondering about this in the United States, that's actually going to be 15 inches. All these displays are generally 1 inch in actual screen size compared to what they advertise. This TV would have come out in the mid-2000s, and there are possibly other versions of it that do accept component and do above 480i, but this version is not one of those. There are stereo speakers on it, 2.5 watts, comb filter, yes, digital, and 500 lines for horizontal resolution or TV line count. That's really good for a TV that's not a professional monitor. But anything else on here that's important? It does have self-diagnostics in case there's a problem. And that's about it. It's no S-video inputs. That's the one thing I don't really like about it, unfortunately. It's kind of, it's not huge, but it is kind of heavy for a 14-inch, over 30 pounds. 75 watts for power consumption. It is NTSC, so this is a North American model. And let's now switch over to the TV, and we're going to hook it up. I'm going to hook this guy up and just test it out. We'll look at it a little bit first. So right off the bat, there is a little bit of an expansion crack right here. It's not 100% through the frame, but there's a tiny crack right here, and there's one starting to form right here where almost the plastic on some of these older models, I think it's like tends to shrink a little bit over time as it ages. I think it's what we've got going on here. So to power this, we're going to just plug in power. It's got all that already done. Here's a look at the back. And right here are our component video inputs, a composite video input, and an RF input. We have a set of component video cables from HD Retrovision that will be connecting here. Now, I didn't get a remote with this television, but hopefully we can get it to work and it's not stuck in some weird input that's not component. All right. It's also an input over here with a headphone input. Okay. We're all connected there. Now hopefully we can get in and this thing will just power on. I do see the standby light has come on. And let's just see how this goes. I do hear the tube powering on right now. And hey, welcome in. Like, I like big tubes. Yeah, me too. Thanks. Snoopers. Yeah, it looks all right. It says connect. Welcome in. Let's see. Oh, turbo sound. Turbo sound. Interesting. Okay. All right, so let's get in here. I've gone into the menu. Okay, that's not going to help. Let's go to All right. Interesting. Okay. I need to navigate. There we go. Ah, okay, finally. So we should be able to hopefully get over here where it says TV AV. And I know it's strobing at a weird frame rate there on your screen, but we need to get to that. And then, oops, go down. Goodness gracious. There we go. Put it on DVD mode. And now, yeah, we are in exit. How do you exit? I know if you hit turbo. I have no idea what the heck turbo sound is. Set obviously needs adjustment. We've got a big shift here. The color looks nice though. Let's check it out. First off, if you guys want to get like good at judging CRTs, what you should do is go over and look at the color bar screen right here. See if the colors are mostly balanced, right? So yeah, you do have, I mean, even you on your screen, whatever you're watching this on, it's not going to look exactly the same. Like this is really dark green in real life, but it probably looks white on your screen or barely green. Again, the colors are a little bit off, but you can see that the intensity of how high they go on this chart. And you want them to be really close to each other most of the time, and that's how you get a nice balanced white image. And then your other colors, everything else kind of works out correctly. Because if you have one of these colors obviously missing, this will show you which color's missing on your setup. But also, if one of them is really low, it's really going to make the whites and everything look very ugly and discolored. It's one of the things I love to always check when I'm first looking at a screen. Another thing to do is there's a white RGB screen. Now, it's just going to look like a big white mess to you. But what you can do with this white mess is you can look for screen burn-in very easily on this. If you turn this on and there's any kind of screen burn-in, you'll see it against the backdrop of this white screen. Woo! I just gave myself such a good static shock between the... I was moving the hand on the CRT screen, getting static electricity built up, and then I shocked myself back down, grounded through my SNES controller. So be careful if you're messing with this. You can zap yourself just playing with it. So this test suite gives you a bunch of colors to scroll through. You can see them there. But I'm still here. I'm fine. So don't worry about me. But yeah, be careful. There you go. Magenta, yellow, cyan, blue, green, red, black, white. Cool. Let's go see how bad our geometry looks. Super sharp, not too bad, actually. Pretty good geometry. I mean, except for that shift this way, which is kind of normal sometimes for Super Nintendo especially. But anyway, you could shift it to the center, and then some of these are locked in at the screen setting sizes. This one probably isn't, but a lot of times when you work on these screens that are home CRT TVs, they're like locked in, and they don't actually adjust for horizontal size or vertical size or center or something random. But it looks to be in great shape and working good. That's all good news. And it's obviously just kind of what it says. I don't know. Is there anything else you want to look at on it before I get going to trying to troubleshoot this thing? This actual CRT that we're working on? Then what I can do is adjust things and set up for that. I think it's a great looking TV. Again, it doesn't seem to have any problems with it. It's came from a secret stash, and I don't think it was really used very much at all. It'd been sitting in a warehouse for probably 5 years, untouched. One of those hidden treasures of retro. All right. Well, if that's all we like on the Dynaflat TV, again, some cool things about this is it's a little bit larger in its screen size, stereo audio, and it does have the flat image, though, flat tube. And if we get more time, we finish up on the repair, then we can open this up maybe and start doing some things with it, see how it works out. But really, I was just wanting to show it off, test it out, and make sure it was gravy. And it is. The horizontal shift is not from age. It's actually more of just the signal that comes in from each analog video console. It's literally like... It's also part of the sync circuitry. There's a lot of things that are not inside the viewable area, and it's like, you know, the Nintendo, everything kind of shifts around with analog video, and it always has. So it's not got anything to do with age. It's really a much like more complicated topic that's kind of out of my wheelhouse. But it does happen, and it's not like unusual. Mikey. All right, guys, so I'm gonna shift over the camera. Did have to move it a little bit. And let's go with workshop. Oh, unable to display. So we just lost the camera. Hang on. There we go. Lovely. All right. First up, I'm going to turn this CRT on and it's going to show you what it's doing incorrectly. I am going to pull up some different documents, some different websites. Again, all this is linked in the show notes / description of this video if you want to go look at it with me or look at it after the fact. And so what I've got is a 1343. This is a Sony PVM that I had restored back in 2025. And then after that restoration, about 6 months in, the client reached out to me and said it just stopped working. And this is a client that lives in the Nashville area, like outside of Nashville, but within the Nashville area. So I don't know. I think that something may have happened with some type of a power surge situation. If anybody knows anything about stuff that's been going on lately, there was a lot of power problems in Nashville specifically over the winter. And it was really right after that time period that I got reached out to. I think it had hit by a power surge and it basically stopped working. Like it won't power on anymore. So I'm going to show you what it does. We're going to plug it up and look at it. And then we're going to literally look at the documentation that's available on these websites. And then we're going to try to figure out what's wrong with it. Now, I personally have fixed this so many times that I already know what's wrong with it, but I'm not going to just jump in and just do it. I wanted everybody else to have an opportunity to see this and to kind of work through it if you didn't have any idea and you just saw one of these and this is what it was doing when you power it on. And so what I did for the client was I went and I swapped out a different similar 13-inch PVM that had been restored. It's actually a 50 series, so it's one series newer than this one with the service menu. And I offered him, you know, you could keep that, or I do have family in Nashville, and I go through there once or twice a year. And so I said I could probably bring this back, swap that back out with that other one. But anyway, I wanted to make sure that he had a CRT and was taken care of, but it's hard to just work on these 40 series because they're so thick full of wires that it's not easy to just walk through it on the telephone even with somebody. So we're gonna first power test it, and I'm gonna show you what it looks like, and I'll walk through our steps from there. We cool? Everybody with me on that? If you guys have any questions, you can leave them in the chat. I'll try to watch that as I go. And we'll see how this works out. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to plug it in and I'm going to try to power it on. All right. Well, hello. So, if I come back here, this one has a built-in power cable. Now, I have removed the outer shell on it. I've removed that, and I've got just the back here open. So we can work on it right away once we start. You can see it a little bit there, how the back is not on it. We can get to going on our working on it once we test it. So we'll power there. And then if we come over here, we'll power it on. And I got a big blah from the degausseur, but I'm not getting anything. No life, no screen voltage. There's only one thing you can see. I'll try to zoom in on it. There we go. The only thing on here you see is every one of these 4 LEDs is lit up. And the power button over here is lit up. So you got this green power button here and 4 LEDs lit up here. And I heard the bong from the degausser that automatically kicks on. I don't think there's a degausser button on the front here. No, there isn't. So we can't manually try that again. So you turn it off and the tube has not gotten any energy, but there still is some power coming into this thing. Oh, I can actually zoom in further. I didn't even realize that. Let me do that again for you. Zoom out, whoops, in. There we go. All right, that's not too jerky. So let's turn it on again. So that time I didn't even get the bong from the degausser, but you can see much clearer those LEDs. We did see the LED come on right here when it powered on. And so that's where we are at. Now, what I would like to do is talk it over with you guys. What do you think we should do as far as possibly next steps here? If you're in this kind of trouble, you find one of these 40 series PVMs and it has this going on with it. Sound like Bill Paxton. Dave, I get that all the time. Or Dav. I think it's Dave Thomas. Jeff, what's up, buddy? Man, so again, all the problems here, all those LED lights are coming on. We're getting no tube voltage. So this is like high voltage issue. We're getting some voltage, so like power's going into it, but somewhere in the power it's not working. So I'm just going to give you my idea first, is to go over and try to just find out information specifically on this CRT. And the first thing I would do is Google it, and you're going to run across this resource by our friend Andy King. This is the CRT database. So a lot of times you can just Google the CRT database plus the model of the CRT, and if there's already a page on it, it will be much more helpful of just taking you directly to the information there. I also have another thing we're going to look at in a second. The second place to look, or another place to look. There's always more places to look. Okay. But anyway, this is information on the 1343. There's really good, just common questions that people have about this monitor because it is a little bit different than a lot of other PVMs. It's older and it has things written on it that are confusing, like digital RGB. And then it does tell you that why this monitor does things that it doesn't do on other monitors. So if we look at this thing, it already has a common repairs section. Okay. So if we see this, it says won't power on. I mean, this is kind of like almost cheating, but we literally have a great explanation of what our problem possibly could be. Maybe I can zoom in on this a little bit. I'm not sure. Let me see if I can get this to zoom a little bit closer so you guys can see it better. Oh, view. This should be it right there. Okay, so won't power on. Listen to this. Degaussing coil makes sound and power light comes on, but no noise or picture on the screen. That sounds literally exactly what's going on with our CRT. If right? I mean, that is... I don't want to sound like this. This sounds like literally what is going on. And so I don't know how... that seems super easy to me. It could be different, but let's read closer and see. Check microfuse F602 on the power board. We can check it obviously with continuity mode in our multimeter or resistance mode. And it's a little surface, or it's actually installed in the board. It's a fuse. It actually tells you a pretty good explanation of what to do and then a way to replace it if you can. Then there's another one that says won't power on, no power light or degaussing coil. It says to check, and I mean, we got a degaussing coil and we have a power light. So this is just like straight up 0 power if you have nothing on it. So if we check the fuse that is the glass fuse, that's a different fuse than 602. And we'll look at both of these and check them both just to be safe. But this is right, 601 is right next to the power plug. So if it's blown, that means there's not any power going anywhere else in the entire monitor. So you can do this safe check to see if you have any power at all. Flickering white dots, snow on a screen. Replace 532 possibly. So that's different. That's part of the deflection capacitor kit. That's not even part of the power issue. That's already been done on this monitor. Just some other notes. There is an audio mod that's already been done on this monitor. And then Andy has some pictures in here. That's great. One other resource to look at even before we get started is over here, Console Mods Wiki. The cool thing about this is it may go deeper than just what we had read over there at the CRT database. We have backups of all the technical bulletins that have been archived for the 1343 PVM. So go over to Console Mods, again, links to this in the show notes, and you can find, hopefully, this comes out for a lot of different CRTs. So what do these technical bulletins do? Well, first you can just read the purpose of them over here on the description and see if any of them apply to your issue. And if you have some kind of issue where you have something like, oh, pincushion effect. Let's see what this says. This has got to have something to do with... and it tells you which monitors it is. Let's see what this says. Okay, so you got, this came out in 1995 from Sony. This is a Sony update. It says if you have a pincushion effect, what is happening here? Basically, you have to go on your A board if you have one of these serial numbered PVMs right here. And you can remove a resistor and a diode, combine a resistor and diode together, solder the leads together, assemble the board facing Q507 or assemble the component, apply RTV, and then they give you a little cute picture of what's happening here and what it kind of looks like closer to that point. But the point here is, if you have some issue, this documentation is amazing. And if you see some kind of weird modification like this on your CRT when you open it, that means your form of the PVM has already had that done. And you don't need to concern yourself with actually, doing the mod. Or if you happen to have a PVM that falls in these other serial numbers outside of these. But there were all kinds of issues like these happening when these products were new. And thankfully, Those are two places that have them documented. There's not an actual service bulletin about this particular thing, but or not one that's saved on there. It might be somewhere on the internet or not on the internet. I'm sure there was some service bulletin at some point happening to this, because this is quite a common problem. Hey, greetings from London and Sweden. That's awesome. What's up, everybody? Glad to see everybody here from all over. Rob Cat, welcome back. Switzerland. Wow, this is great. Awesome. People all over Europe. Amazing. I don't normally come on Mondays at this time, and so it's very excellent to see people from all over the world. And hopefully this falls in your schedule. If you're lucky enough to be here with us, working on this PVM. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this check here. We're going to do this troubleshooting. We're going to look at this microfuse F602 on the power board, and we're going to use a multimeter, and we're going to check it definitely with the continuity. We're also going to check the other fuse. And I don't know if you know how this should work, but I'll explain it as we go. I'm going to switch over here and go to the monitor. Back to our workshop cam. And let's see about... maybe we should back that view a little bit up. I don't have to do it a whole lot. There we go. And then in a little bit. Alrighty, so the first thing is I'm not actually going to be using power anymore. At least not right now. Not to do these checks. Because what's actually happening is there's still... if you have this plugged in, you still have power going from this cable into the point where it connects to this leads right here on this board, which are hot, even though the PVM is turned off. So doing these checks, make sure you're unplugged. There are other checks you can do, but you need to be careful when you're doing those and set up the PVM in a way that is not going to be dangerous for you to work on. Okay? So this is the power board. When we're talking about the power board in the PVM, it's this board on the side. Okay? Some things to note about it. There's some bundles of cables coming along the top here that connect in on this particular build out. You also have a ground and cable connection over here on this side. Back here. And right over in here, that connects. So if you're actually going to work on one of these, there's some steps to take this apart. Hey, thanks for the super chat there. This is... Thanks for the insight, Steve. You're I'm trying to read my old man eyes. Thanks for your insight, Steve. Appreciate you a lot, and you're a funny guy. Well, thank you. My kids think I'm an idiot, but they're also teenagers, so nobody really appreciates my jokes anymore. Just an old dad, but you guys do, and I appreciate that. Thank you. And my wife will never let me down. I'll tell her people think I'm funny from somewhere. All right. For some reason, I couldn't see that. Thank you, Cat Crusher 711. Thank you for the awesome super chat. Yeah, so what we want to do here is we definitely don't want to shock ourselves. We want to get this cable out of the way, and then we don't want to harm the PVM. We want to try to do no harm. And generally speaking, there's two screws over here. You want to remove these two screws that are holding this plastic to the bezel frame here. I've already done that. I've removed those, and then we're going to be ready to expand this board out and look at it a little bit closer. But we've got a couple cables to be aware of and disconnect. We've got a ground cable that connects right here to our back plate. That's a ground plate on the back of the C board, which is the CRT socket board. And then we have a couple ground connections right here where we have screws holding those to our ground plate. And we want to unscrew those two ground cable screws. One of them is the ground cable that's coming from the wall. So again, that's why you don't want to be touching that kind of stuff with it plugged in. Because if you accidentally shorted it out against one of those hot leads that you're an inch away from, you'd be in trouble. Anyway, we're going to remove that, and then there's a second ground connection right there that goes back into the power supply right there. So we just removed those two grounds, and then this third ground, we can open that up, and this is like a coil. This is an old-fashioned coil before they started using those ferrite cores. They would coil it like this. I'll show you that in a second because we're about to take that cable out. That coil is attached to the main power cable. So we want to disconnect that from the power supply first. And then this whole cable can come out. And just release the input board a little bit. And there. Okay. There we go. So this is our power cable. Let me take this back to the desk and I'll show you a little bit more about it. So this is the power cable on these. This is different than other PVMs. This one goes directly into the power supply on this end with this connector. And then here's that ground that, again, is from straight from your wall of ground. And then it goes over this inductor or this magnetic coil to try to prevent noise from this AC current going all through your monitor and causing all kinds of interference. That's what these coils are supposed to do. It's a magnet wrapped around it, and then this will connect to the ground loop within the CRT. Normally, you don't have to worry about that with the other CRTs because they have external secondary power inputs on them, but not these older ones. So now that that's released and out of the way, we can work better on this, or you know, easier on this if you need to run any tests, because you can just lift it now. And then there's a side set. There's two sets of hooks here. There's the ones that you were sitting on, and then there's a secondary set over here where you could flip over and use that secondary set. And now you have the PVM in test mode here. So this is the way you would want to have it if you had to have it running and you needed to do any testing while it's turned on or adjusting. You give yourself a whole lot more room by having it in this explosion setup here. So you can see you've got a lot more space to work in. And then you won't get yourself hurt. So we're going to take this and we're going to test the fuses, okay? What I want to do is kind of zoom in and show you this fuse. Well, we're going to take a closer look at it eventually anyway, because we're going to inevitably have to replace the thing if it's busted. So let's go ahead and we're going to remove this all the way. So there we go. That's how we safely remove that power supply. Now we can bring it back over here to the bench and take a closer look at it together and see if we can't find exactly what's wrong with it. All right. Here. We won't need the power cable for this. You could technically, well, not really. You'd have to have a power switch to engage your power. You could just send power into this board and then not actually well, you would send power in. Oh, sorry. You'd send power into the board. Trying some new setup stuff. I don't know how great it's going to look. There we go. So sometimes you can send power directly into this board if you had a way to activate it, and then you could test the voltages coming out of it if you had really bad problems with the power supply. But this is the power board, and there are, again, are two fuses. So the first fuse is the glass fuse up here, and it's just this normal looking fuse that looks like about every other fuse you've probably ever seen in your life. But the other secondary fuse is over here under my finger, and it's very small. It's very small, so maybe what I should do is see if I can get a let's see if we can get it in the camera here. So there's our first fuse we'll be testing, this glass one. But if we look over here, it's somewhere under there. Yeah, right there. It's not the white part, it's the one right next to the white part, that tiny. Let me get this. It's this piece right here that I'm touching. Right there, right in the middle of the screen, right under the resistor. Those are the parts we've got to test. And we'll do that with this multimeter. So we can put this in continuity mode. So again, this is relatively safe. Like, we're not going to harm anything. We're not going to hurt ourselves touching this with these tools. And go over here to our actually, I should put that next to the microphone. So this should make noises when we make contact with each other. And the noise gate might try to take that sound and get rid of it. I'm not quite sure how the sound gate will work with that. Sometimes it just doesn't want to hear background noise. But what I should hear is that sound when I touch the fuses. So you can see me. I know it's a little blurry. You can see me down here. I'm touching the fuses. Both leads on the fuse for the glass fuse. So that's why we have that secondary power coming in. We definitely have power coming in through that fuse. But if we go over here and we check out points on 602, I'm not getting any noise. Okay. You can also check on the back side. And, you know, just to make sure, I'll check another point. That's actually on the same circuit as the leg of the fuse. But if I click both fuse legs together on the circuit, it's nothing. So this instance is something where, again, we read about that problem being documented. So let's go ahead and confirm that by removing the fuse right now and testing it again out of circuit. And hopefully that will be the only problem, because when you have a blown fuse, there's a couple of issues. It could, now this one has been known to blow, but if you have blown fuses, there could be some reason it's blowing. There could be a short somewhere that's causing it to blow to try to protect other circuits. So you could check to see, once we remove it, if that circuit, which is on 115 volts, we could see if it's tripping to ground. We can check it in continuity mode on our meter and make sure it's not falling into ground, and it will make a noise if it is on ground. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my tweezers and kind of grab this part, this fuse, if I can, from the top side and hold it. Probably won't matter. Then I'll come in with my hot FR301 and let's see if it's hot enough. Yeah, it's starting to get there. Pretty good. Okay, let's see if the other one will come right out. All right. I mean, we're actually getting to the point where, thankfully, I can't imagine it getting much. I mean, this is pretty good. Where nowadays, when I was starting working on CRTs, 12 years ago, there wasn't any information like this available to help out with troubleshooting. All right, we've got the fuse removed. This is what it looks like. It's, again, a small surface mount fuse, or not surface mount, it's got holes, so it's a through hole mounting little guy. So what we're going to do is we're going to, I've got both the leads out like that. And we'll just put it again on the meter and again confirm that it's blown. Yeah, I see. I mean, nothing. If this was good, it would be humming. I don't think so. Yeah. There you go. So, no continuity between the fuse, which means the fuse is blown. Thankfully, Sony really got away from this and didn't use this in any other monitors. And once they got into the late, this is actually an earlier version of this, because it still has, it actually marks the fuse. It says needs to be 800 milliamps, but on later models of the board, it actually says 1 amp. So they increased the voltage because the circuit would blow pretty easily, or the fuse would. Let this heat back up. Try to clear that hole a little bit better. Looks like there's still some solder in there. Yeah, you heard it come through there. Yes, we are good. You can hold it up to the light and check and make sure it's cleared out. So we've got the fuse out. Now, if we want to be good, we can sit here and we can probe this 115 volt line and see if it's shorting the ground, like without the fuse in there. So if it is, that means we have a different problem. E. Ooh. Oh. Okay, no. I thought for a second it shorted because it just made a quick beep. So all I'm doing is I'm taking now one end of that is where 115 volts goes straight out of this. And it doesn't connect to anything else. Hey, thanks Pappy for the $5 super chat. Have you worked on Neotech chassis before? I imagine you're talking about the Neotech for like a arcade cabinet. I have not, unfortunately. I'm sorry. I've worked on mostly Wells Garner chassis and a Polo chassis. I don't remember what the Mortal Kombat machines, if they were all also Wells Garner, I can't remember. But they might have been something different. But those are pretty much the three I've ever worked on. Thanks for the super chat, though. I appreciate it. All right, so what I did was so the one end, it's impossible for it to short to ground because it's not connected to anything. It's literally connected to an out port. But the other end goes through the whole circuit, and before it goes to that out port, it would be shorted to ground if there was a problem. Still. So I'm going to put one lead on ground, and I'm going to probe all the components, definitely on the same visual circuit, and nothing is shorted. That's on the ground, so that's supposed to beep. So is that. So is that. So is that. So this is a good sign. Like, what has happened is this low tolerance fuse has blown either because of a voltage surge, most likely, or simply because it's a 35-year-old fuse that's very low on tolerance in the first place, and it was ready to blow. So I'm pretty confident that just fixing this is going to be our ticket out of here. We just need to figure out an effective way to add a fuse. So I went to the hardware store and I went and bought just some good old glass fuses that are 1 amp, 250 volts. 1 amp, 250 volts. They're $2.99 a piece at this point, USD. And we're going to figure out a way to install this in that same spot. But I don't know that it will be on the top. Well, let's see. You know, we actually probably could install it on the top. Let's try to see if I can make this actually look. So we'd probably want to do is maybe roll some conductors around it. Or if I put 2 through-hole poles in it, then I could solder it on to the pole ends. But that might be a little bit more dangerous. Let's see. Oh, thanks for that. Another super chat. I've got this Neotech chassis 2700 NT, and it has kicked my butt. 3 flyback transformers, 3 hots. Oh, that's... Trace are beaten up and don't want to give it a try. Do I want to give it a try? I don't know, man. I mean, if it's looking like the traces are beaten up, that's probably the problem. You got to make something's definitely shorting still on that board. But if you're serious about sending something in, you can check out the links in the description, show notes. There's a link to the Patreon page. You can send me something about getting it scheduled, but I'm going to tell you, if your traces are really beat up, it's a risk that it, I don't know. Basically, what I do is I just showed you what I tried to do. If I'll remove the busted parts that I know are bad and try to make sure that nothing's shorting to ground on the board. Now, that gets more complex as the more boards are connected. Like, that is really tough when you have more boards connected in the circuit and then you're reading the short. You want to try to narrow it down to which board has the shorted parts on it. And then you can try to methodically do what we just did. Or some other people are able to get resistance readings with much higher end equipment, like digital multimeters that go into the millionths. All right, we've got just an old bin of garbage here. And why would I be looking in this old bin of garbage? I want to see if I can recycle any leads off of an old capacitor or two that I have found, or that I have replaced before. And I'll be honest, this is something I've not tried yet. I've never tried to like roll these around and try to get it to actually stay on there. I don't know that how successful I'll be at it. So I'm assuming the idea is you want to have a lead. Just we're gonna have to solder this end to the fuse. So would it be easier to just try to stick it in the hole here and maybe do that to solder it and then solder in the second hole? It's going to be probably what I'll try to do first. So if you're just joining late, we went through the CRT database and Console Mods Wiki. And we found some documentation saying that we needed to check our fuse, that's the surface mount fuse, on F602 on our Sony F board. And that this blown fuse can cause our problem. So now I'm just going to sit here and wonder what the most awkward way to install the fuse is into the board. All right, that's not working. Hey, thanks for the super chat, Michael. We've got a Sony PVM 2053MD similar to this. I forced a 240p signal through it. Now there is a black screen with a fat white line when I turn it on. Is this repairable? So if it's just got a fat white line across the center of the screen like this. Oh, sorry, you can't see because my fat head's in the way. So let's say this TV right here is what you're talking about. If you just see a solid white line across center, do not run it right now. But if that's what you see, it has vertical collapse. And yes, that is repairable on these PVMs. It includes the vertical circuit has failed. So there's a capacitor kit that is directly involved there, and if that's failed, then that would cause that issue. But there are also, that's what I've had that happen in other PVMs, and there are two vertical hold ICs or transistors that look like this. They're 3-prong, and they can short. And if one of those shorts, then you could lose vertical screen hold. So you could check those transistors that are in the capacitors, the deflection capacitors. And I know you can either find that Again, by searching online, you can probably find that maybe on Andy King's site here. Also on my Patreon page, within the Discord server, we have capacitor kits for this, like lists made that cover those capacitors in the deflection kit. So that's probably the area that's damaged, is that transistor. One of those transistors is shorted and failed, or it's open and failed and the legs have fallen off it, or the capacitors have failed. Okay, back to our repair project and forcing in this fuse. I wonder, for me personally, it's not that easy to just, I have such fat fingers. It's like Operation, the game you played as a kid. You didn't think that that game was actually so much like real life. Your life is literally the game of Operation. When you work on CRTs, that's what it is. So this is a good method, I guess. What I'm going to try to do is get... There we go. I'm going to kind of like that. Drop the fuse in there. Hey, thanks Matt for the or thank you Michael, I'm sorry. My chat screen, hang on, let me expand that a little bit so I can see everybody's name. Thank you Michael O'Hara for the super chats. I really appreciate it. So Stanton, I do offer board repair for certain stuff. If it's like blown up and already been worked on, and like, you know, there's no guarantees when it comes to just board repair really, or CRT repair in general, but there's a lot of things I know how to fix and can fix or figure out. But yes, to make a long answer short, I do offer that. Either I offer people send in the whole CRT, or people send in just the board. I've had both things happen. Man, I hate trying to solder to something like a fuse. Well, baby, I'm gonna let that cool. Hopefully that leg stayed attached to it. It did. So I've got a little lead on there. On one leg, you can see it just right there next to my face. The little lead, it's like a hair right there. I'll eat it. So now I can hopefully get that lead down in there and stabilize one end and get it soldered in, and then I'll try to stick the other lead on top of the second spot. Okay. That's what we're going to try to do. I see. Goodness. It's going to get hot, so I'm going to hold it with the my finger, I guess, because I'm too afraid I'll be holding the other end, so hopefully it won't be too hot. The problem is there's a resistor right next to this that I don't want to short out. It would literally be shorting directly to the ground. That's insane. Hang on. I'm looking at this thing, and it would directly touch the ground on a resistor. Good grief. If I do it from this side. All right, new plan. We're going to wrap that little end that I just made, hopefully in some heat shrink. Because I mean, that would just be a nightmare. Hopefully I can get this heat shrink over that. It's gonna be too tiny. Too tiny. Yeah, this is crazy. Like we're gonna have to get a heat shrink over that end, and then maybe we'll have a little bit of safety there. I always hate doing this stuff. I wish I had like I don't have a receptacle, and I do not have a I don't have the actual surface mountable or the part here. I have these 1 amp fuses, but I have a 1.2 amp fuse that I could just plug in there, but I'm afraid if I do that I might actually be letting too much through, and that would be a disaster. Worse than if we shorted something. What it would do is it go out of the PVM's power board here, and it would short something outside of the CRT. Not the CRT, I'm sorry, outside of this board. So I've got that shrink tubing a little bit over that. So, but hey, good things are happening. I know this is taking a lot longer than I thought, and a lot longer than it should seem for a fuse replacement, but we want to make sure we do it right. And things are already looking up because the first CRT worked good. So happy days are here. All right. We will go top side, I guess, with that. Good grief, I hate that. Ugh. Gotta move that. Resistor kind of out of the way some. All right. Let's go in here and flip that guy back over. We got our little lead there. Bend it over. All right. Maybe we'll get lucky. Okay. Let's see. All right. Well, it's going to be terribly, terribly tricky trying to get a second, whatever it's called, over that. A second heat shrink tube over that lead on the second end. Should have thought about that a little bit more. Okay, so I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hook it over like that. Ooh, try not to poke myself with this. Save yourself some time if you have to do this and just try to find a replacement actual fuse. It's the right kind. Of course, I get it. Sometimes, I mean, this is 1 amp fuse is easy to find, but the surface mount kind is not so easy to find, or the pin out kind. All right, that looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. Oh yeah, baby. All right. I think we might be heading for some testing here in a sec. Because I got a replacement fuse installed. The leads are good on the back. Trim them a little bit. Now, let's do a simple test and check, see if we have continuity. Have continuity, everybody? Let's see. Yes, okay. So as now on those 2 points, pressing them together, I don't know if you should be able to hear it now as I talk, but there's like a beep sound. Man, I poked myself good with that resistor. There's some blood on my meter. Or not resistor, the lead. Okay, wait. One more thing I think we can check is we should be able to check the resistance of that part. Maybe. And if so, it should say, give us a reading on that too. Maybe not. Maybe it's just going to give us 0. Oh, well, it goes 1 and then it goes down to 0, negative. Okay. Let's see if it says anything about that to ground. We do have... Okay. Interesting. All right, well, I think we're good. I think we are good. We just need to do one more check. Make sure nothing is shorting out over here on the back side. Nothing is shorting. Yay. And then... then maybe we'll be good. Okay. I just don't want this one leg of this stupid resistor to pop out and touch that. I'm gonna just lose my mind if that happens. So I think I'm gonna pull this resistor leg just to be safe and put a sleeve on it. Because it's literally the ground. It's a resistor to ground right next to this that's going to be feeding 115 volts. And if that trips, that's going to be bad. All right, so I pulled that. And where's that thing? We'll get some solder wick and remove that from the hole. Hit my finger with the soldering iron. burn it a little bit. All right. Oh man. Oh, there's nothing. If you want to see what happened in the monitor, you can check the very beginning. I did give a demo, but there's not been anything new yet. We're just working. I'm sorry, I'm working on this board and I'm almost done with it. I know this hasn't been the most exciting view for this repair, but I've got to get just one more leg soldered in here. And then we'll take this over to the monitor and install it, and hopefully it will work with this installed brand new fuse that we made, our homemade fuse. So I'm going to take and put this little heat shrink tubing on the leg of this resistor to protect it from shorting against the leg of the fuse. Maybe that's what originally happens. Maybe it just eventually falls over and gets hot and shorts. All right, I've got it in. Put it in. Come on, baby. Story of my life. Get it in the hole, Steve. There we go. That will make me feel a little better. I'm gonna solder this back in the leg of this resistor. And there's one easy way to check this. We're going to get the meter out one more time, check continuity, make sure it's not shorting, as we just have it here. These 2 points should be shorted. Good, no short. Those are the 2 points we don't want shorted. That's it. Everything looks fine. I mean, it's not great, but I have my installed fuse here, and then I move that resistor slightly over right here. And I put a heat shrink tubing on the leg for it. So let's take it over now and stick it in the rest of the monitor. This is the exciting part. So we can come back over here. And since we're going to be in test mode, we don't have to put it all the way back together like it was. We're going to keep it in the test mode. Plug in. Degausser. Okay. We can do that. You can put this cable up top. And then there's obviously some ground connections here. To make those, I'm going to use some clip wires, some jumper wires. So hopefully we can get this done with just one jumper wire, because that's all I can find. Over here we got our power cable we had looked at earlier. And what I will do, both of these are grounds. Connect that ground and that ground together. And then we will connect this over here. Now this is like an isolated ground. This part, I mean, it's literally just a ground to this plate. The plate does not actually ground to the board ground that way. The plate is something else Sony got rid of after this monitor. They got rid of it and they just don't have a plate back in here, this little metal plate. So we can leave it disconnected, no problem. But these two are main grounds. Just want to make sure they're... These alligator clips are just a nasty business. Hate them. All right, there we go. Nice and connected. Make sure that ground does not touch the board because we don't want to short something out being an idiot. There we go. All right, everybody. What do you think? What do you think? Will we fix it here? If so, should be cool. If not, maybe the fuse will just blow up right in front of your face. I'm gonna plug this in, but I'm not gonna turn the power on just yet. Set that there. And let's go do it like this. If that fuse pops, you'll know it. I'll zoom in at that fuse. There's the first fuse. Up here's our homemade fuse. A little higher. Oh, still got to go. Still got to go up a little more. Hang on. All right, there's my fuse. Right next to that, I think it's an inductor. Here we go. Let's see what happens, okay? I know, I'm a little nervous too. Here's what maybe I could do. And I have the 3 view, but that's not really any fun. Let's go back to this 1 view. And I know it looks a little grainy. I know it's not the greatest picture. We're going to go ahead and introduce power. And if nothing happens, if it works, I'll zoom out. And then we will I'll roll it around and we'll look at the front of the monitor. If something else happens, like, well, I guess first I need to just check and make sure everything inside of here is connected good and correctly. But yeah, it looks like it. So, all right, enough stalling. Enough stalling, Steve. You just help me, God. I made the right choice. All right. Here we go. I'm going to turn the switch on. Let's see if anything happens. All right, I'm hearing it. I'm hearing the tube coming alive. All right, I think we might have, I'm not going to jinx anything yet or get excited too much. Let's see. Whoops, sorry. Let's back out some. Let's take the view down a little. And all right, now I'm going to power it off, and then I'm going to turn it around. Well, first, here we're going to do, I'm going to power it off. All I can tell is I'm hearing the tube come alive. Like, you hear that high frequency tube noise. Let's try and send in the Neo Geo. I mean, we could just go through it. Let's try to connect the Neo Geo and see if it actually works now. I know that's kind of risky because the Neo Geo itself may have problems. And so these SCART cables have been giving me problems. These adapters, just because I use them so much. They start to lose connection. Especially in the B and C side. But if this doesn't work, then we can switch over and try a different console. We can go Super Famicom. And this one should have RGB modified, or RGB should be audio modified. Yeah, it's already been audio modified because I did that. All right, there's our red, green, blue, and sync connection. We have a SCART cable for this console. So all the European people will love seeing that here in the United States, us finally getting SCART in the 2000s after you guys invented it. Or I'm not sure who invented it, but mastered it. All right. We have there. Now I just need to plug the power in. Yeah, I know, Michael, there is going to be a new... I'll try them both. We'll do it, Javier. We'll do both consoles here. I just want to see if this console on this Neo Geo even still works. It might not work. After I bought the arcade machine, I haven't really used it. I'm not seeing any power coming to the power supply. That's not a good sign. Let's see. All right, there we go. Oh, there's some power. Okay, I'm seeing power. Not on the console yet, but in the power supply. Let's move the monitor a little bit. Now, can I rotate this guy? Yeah. We're going to spin this. And let's hope for a good finish to our stream here. All right, let's see. It's generally a good sign when the LED light comes on there. Let's zoom in a little bit. Let's focus it. Get the LED there. All right, let's see. Oh, I hear it. I hear it. Come on, baby. We got sync turned on. RGB. Huh. Like I said, it could be a BNC error. Let's see if... I can hear it. That's crazy. Let's try to reset. I can hear it. Where are you? All right, we're about to... All right, we're going to switch over now. We're going to try a different one. I literally think this is a problem with the... Hey, Dell. Yeah. Smash that like button. Thank you. Anyway, I'm going to trade this over to a different console. I think it's something wrong with that video output, or the SCART cable, or the SCART input cable. I've switched over. I'm relying on that. All right. So far, our improvement is we're hearing the audio and we don't have those lockout lights anymore. Here we go. BNC cables. Okay. We'll just add a little bit more to the suspense. I got to get the cables ready. Got to get the cables ready. I mean, this is typical. Like, every time I have a stream or Bob, you know, we all have the same issue where, like, our first setup, of course, it works fine in testing, but then it never works when you're actually live in front of the audience. It's called a retro gremlin or something, I guess. Like, again, right now, you can't make this stuff up. Like, I'm trying to disconnect this high-quality cable and the stupid pin from it. Everything. If you want to know how to break a retro video game cable, send it to me. I will be able to break it. If you think you have made... if you want to have your unbreakable cable tested... I challenge it. I will pay for it if it's unbreakable, because I break every cable. It doesn't matter how high quality it is. I'm just so hard on them. That's what I need, is like the double monster SCART cables to start coming out, where it's like very unaffordable. Just shielded to the point where I don't break it. All right. Well, let's not do the same thing. Plug the same stuff back in. Here we go. That's a SCART. We're not doing SCART. We're going RF. Come on. Or no, RF. Somebody said RF in the chat and made me think of RF. We're going RGB. This monitor doesn't do RF. All right, these cables go directly to BNC, so that's good. Makes it easier for me to plug into a PVM. It's also harder for me to break. Let's see if we get the test screen, because I don't have to have much to get a SNES screen on there. I'm not sure what's going on here. I'm like, I think my power strip might be just junking with me. What's going on? It says I got power, but I got no power. Oh, oh. There we go. Okay. LED light on. LED light on. Let's see. We in focus. Here we go. I mean, I feel static on the screen, but I don't see anything. That's highly unusual. Oh, there we go. There we go. Yes. I just pressed the buttons wrong. We'll try the Neo Geo again. Maybe that was it. Maybe I didn't have the sync selected right or something. We got it. I can't believe we actually fixed that one live. It wasn't the most groundbreaking. It wasn't the most groundbreaking visual experience of a stream, but we did accomplish what we wanted. We actually fixed it. Look at this. Let's see. Let's see if we got... Oh yeah, look at there. Oh yeah, we did hit a home run. See how close I get in there without just moire patterning. Oh, look, we can even get a little bit of the scan lines here. And the moire pattern. Let me see if I turn the lights off if that does any difference. Not much. All right, that's great. So we're gonna let me see if I can get if I get something that doesn't have such a yeah, like bright background, the moire pattern won't be as bad. Let me zoom out a little. It looks great. I love this monitor. Yeah, this is one of the, like, again, it's not very often DeJord, D-A-Jord, that you can just go and find a repair listed on the internet and actually do it, and then it just works. That's not very typical for CRT stuff. It's much... I mean, I'm thankful, and I think that there are some things that are starting to become documented like this, which is great. But yeah, the other, I mean, it's kind of like different. It depends on what the problem is with each one of them. Obviously, what circuits got your issue. But these certain circuits are easier to deal with on this CRT than the M series. The M series does have more tests available for it and such, but you kind of get a good... This is 600 TV line resolution here on this PVM screen. Trinitron tube. Yeah, thanks, Cat Crasher. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out, dude. And helping me through this. We saved her. We saved her. So if you see one of these, out in the wild, and you see the same problems that we talked about today, if you saw all those symptoms specifically, you will have a good chance of it being this problem with that fuse blowing. Hang on. Turn the volume down here on the game, and we'll take a seat. I want to see if I can get this Neo Turf Masters to pop on the screen. The camera I'm using is an old Sony Alpha like 5100. It does pretty good, and I mean, it's really old. It does good about matching the frame rate for cheap old camera, and then I just run that straight into a EVGA caption or whatever capture card. All right, let's give it another shot. I don't know, since we know the screen's working, I don't know whether it's the SCART cable or the adapter that's giving me the problems, but I'm going to try to get everything set up on the Neo Geo, and then I'll switch it over on the screen, and we'll see if it's going to come up for us and actually show us something. So it sounds like the game's loading, and it shouldn't, at least on the... Yeah, thanks, Javier. All right. Exciting. I've had trouble with this cable in the past. Yeah, it's got to be the SCART adapter. See? It's a stupid sync line on these SCART adapters. God bless. I'm telling you guys. These things, I hate them. They drive me absolutely wild. This thing looks perfectly fine. It's the stupid sync line of it is compromised in some way. I'm going to open up the SCART head and see. You could see it come through because it was actually picking up the signal over. The problem is if the sync is not solid, the monitor won't register it. And see, everything looks fine up here, so most likely it's like snipped somewhere in this head. So like I can't tell you how many of these SCART adapters I have broken. I have broken probably 20 of them in my career. They just don't last. Anyway, well, that's unfortunate. We're not going to be able to probably use that because I don't think I have any more of these things. I don't like the SCART. I just don't like the SCART adapter. I mean, I got all this stupid SCART equipment. Yeah, the Wookiee ones are the same way. I used to make them. I made a video about how you can make your own Wookiee WIN cables. Just because I broke so many of them, I was tired of buying them. And you can make them. You can buy them and make your own version. Actually, I think it was like probably 6 or 7 years ago I made that video. It's just even when you make your own, they just don't. If you actually use them, like move them around, they don't hold together. Like they don't hold up. There's 21 pins in it. It's like almost impossible for it to, if it's moved around, and like that's the problem is I have too many monitors that I'm like trying to test, and I move the cables around and plug them in and out so many times. It's pretty high stress on the connector itself. I don't think I have another one though. Let's see. More SCART cables, but no adapter for the SCART cable. Nah, I'm all out of them. That was the last working one I used to have, and it quit on me. So I'm only going to be able to use Mike Chi's SCART cable system till I get a new BNC adapter. Because he was the only one who bypassed the SCART. All right, we're powering down there. We're going to power down on the monitor. And we will finish it out like that, so we got the repair done. But this is another thing to remember. If you're having some issue all of a sudden with your PVM, don't Sometimes it might not be the PVM. It might be your perfectly good-looking cable. I don't actually do recap kits. I do, hey, PO17. I do cap kit lists. Well, the SCART adapter was junk no matter what, so. Yeah, like, I'm too hard on SCART. Like, I'm just, when you work on 2 to 3 monitors a week and you're like ripping that adapter in and out, it's just, it's got like a couple of hundred of uses in its life, and then it's just done. Something happens, it just dies. It loses its connection. I've got piles of cables here where that's happened, where it just loses one thing. Well, no, I won't fix that cable. The cable's junk. I'm going to recycle that cable. The cable is not the issue here. I mean, it was, the PVM works fine. I've got anything that fits the SNES, and anything that fits a Sega Genesis Style 2, I can hook up via RGB through BNC only. Hey, Ronnie. I mean, what the one that's gonna the most heavy duty cable right now is like this. You have no SCART. It's a braided cloth cable with braided connections at every end, and it's basically a VGA cable to BNC cable with the Mike Chi, retro tank style. And this can go directly into the PVM. You just ignore the SCART. The problem here is, well, it's not a problem. Then you're going to decide whether you want to go to VGA style HD or 15 pin for switchboards. But this, now if there was like a SCART adapter with this end, I'm sure it would last longer. But this is like the most heavy duty one right now. It was F602. Keith, you just got here. Oh, everybody's joking. Oh. No, it wasn't a broken cable. That was the actual problem. It was the broken. Quasar. I have one Quasar TV. It's super old though. It's like RF only and wood grain. Yeah, if you don't unplug your SCART cables 1,000 times, you guys will be okay. This is literally a problem for me personally because I'm too hard on the cables. Doing mobile testing and mobile setups all the time, I'm way harder on them. Way harder on them than physically harder on them than you would be normal. Whew. Well, that was fun. 2 hours, right? Got it fixed. Can I know, right? I wish I could be gentle on the cables. Save me a lot of hassle. I mean, even my HD Retrovisions are going bad. This is the only thing I've been able to do to kind of make them go longer, and it's like duct tape the ends of them. Duct tape the end of them around all the sheet. Give it basically extra shielding. Hey there, Steve. So if you have a FS120, I don't believe the FS120 is going to have the additional yoke ring, which is just an additional ring to help with screen curving. But you would definitely want to check the yoke first off. Like, the yoke is a lot of the issues you're going to find with those TVs. So once you open it, if you start seeing that wedges have fallen out of place or it looks like it's leaning, it's probably the problem. And you want to fix that before you move on to something else anyway. Yeah, I'd love to come to Europe someday, right? Unfortunately, stupid price of oil has flights to anywhere out of the question. Like the freaking ridiculous prices of everything. The plane tickets are insane right now. I don't know what's going on, man. Nothing can be like relaxing and normal anymore. What, even just like the weather around here has been, yeah, if your wedges have fallen into the chassis, yes. There's also a great page on the CRT database. If you just type in yoke, CRT yoke guide, and then CRT database in a search engine online, it'll take you to a great page that gets you excellent guide on how to start seating a yoke. But yeah, even the weather here, I mean, April 15th, which was 5 days ago, it was almost 90 degrees Fahrenheit in Virginia, and that's it tied the 1896 tops. Like, that's the year 1896 is the year that it was that hot on that date last time, at least as long as they've been keeping records. So it's like, yeah, that, I mean, it doesn't matter what it is. Stupid stuff. Not even like everything. Like I got my son and daughter, and I was getting them ready for school this morning, and I can give my son a ride if he wants. Sometimes but he usually just rides the bus. He likes to ride the bus, and silly school sends me a text message about 15 minutes before his bus is normally supposed to arrive, saying his bus will arrive a few minutes early. And then I'm watching out the window, and the bus doesn't even stop. It just goes zooming by at that time. And I was like, what the hell is that? They gave me a warning. And I'm sure there's some poor kid in my school district that can't go to school today simply because he was on that bus list. But that's the boring bull crap in my life today. Yeah, there's a big Toshiba back there. That's... Let's see. We'll change the view a little bit here for the ending. That Toshiba is right before they started making the flat screens ones. It's like one of the best versions of the Toshibas. I think they're the A series. I like them. My mom actually bought that TV new, and like 2004 or 5, whenever it came out, she literally bought it new. And I stole it from her. Actually, I didn't steal it from her. She wanted to get rid of it. Funny story. The last house before I moved to this shop and this place, my mom and stepfather came over and hang out. And I had this TV still in my living room, this Toshiba that you see, not the one down here, not the little Samsung, the Toshiba in the background. It's a 32-incher. I still had it hooked up. And I mean, this is like 2 years ago, and it was the main TV in the living room. There wasn't like a flat screen, and they came over to visit, and they were like, "Oh, we really want to buy you guys a new TV for your living room. That old one, you know." And I'm like, "Mom, no. Like, you're not going to buy me a new TV. You're not going to buy me some piece of crap Roku TV to replace my beautiful Toshiba." Could never sell me on that deal, but I always thought that was funny. How she came back and thought I was just like trying to live like a poor man or something and use this TV in 2024. Oh, all right, guys. I really appreciate y'all hanging out with me today. Actually, I'm going to get ready for the rest of the day. Yeah, she thought I didn't want the TV, right? Yeah. Oh, yeah. So Jeff, I have tried the antenna transmitter. It's pretty awesome. A couple of them are. I'll have some stuff eventually about it. I had some really good success with one of them. Where, yeah, you can send RF over. It's really cool. You can send RF signals over the air, analog video style, and you can just catch anything over the air that way. You can even feed in just straight HDMI signals, and it'll kick it out downscaled to over the airs. I'm going to use it, yeah, hopefully in some upcoming stuff. Yeah, you guys have a wonderful rest of your week. I'll catch you guys coming soon. I've got like some stuff about some Sonys filmed and like mostly compiled. I've been just like, instead of making individual videos, I want to kind of make a compilation again of talking about. It's mostly consumer. I wanted to say component video for some reason. Consumer grade Sony CRTs. And like, it's all kinds of stuff. Just weird adjustments, mods, things that are limited on some of them. And even looking at some of other ones, I finally have a few. I have two FV310s in the shop. I wanted to repair this one, and then I've got to get this guy done, and then one more PVM, and then it's on to the FV310. I've got two restorations of those lined up, and then it's on to the biggest project of the year, which is going to be the BVM D24 Pimp My CRT project. So that will be big and probably not released till 2027, the video part of that one. But I might do some live streams while I restore the D24. So if you see a random live stream of D24, it's going to be process of that Pimp My BVM. And we're going all out for that one. All right, everybody. You guys have a great week. I know I said it like 3 or 4 times now, but I'm really signing off. Thanks for watching. If you caught it at the end, you can go back and check out the whole process of us slowly but surely troubleshooting the CRT. Thanks again, everybody. Y'all have a great week.